Hello everyone, Kimberly here from All About Dogs. Some of you may be aware, but some of you may not be aware that there are foods out there that are bad for dogs. So, I just wanted to share this list of 13 things not to feed your dog this Christmas or in fact any other day of the year. So, take a look and let's keep our doggies safe. Number 1. Cow's milk and dairy products. Cow's milk has the potential to make dogs sick. The reason for this is that dogs don't have the enzymes to digest the sugars and fatty acids found in these types of milk. Symptoms include diarrhea, bloating and abdominal discomfort. Number 2. Salt. Salt should always be kept to a minimum. It can cause dehydration and sodium poisoning. The reason is because excess salt draws water from the blood into the intestines to try and flush the sodium chloride out of the system. This causes damage to most cells, especially brain cells. Symptoms include vomiting, weakness, diarrhea, muscle tremors, and seizures. Number 3. Sugary foods. Although processed sugar is not likely to cause your dog any immediate damage, the long-term effects of ingesting sugary foods can cause problems such as obesity, diabetes, and tooth decay. Number 4. Christmas spices, nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. These spices are quite toxic to dogs and can be fatal. The reason is that nutmeg contains a compound called myristicin, which is poisonous to dogs. Symptoms include hallucinations, increased heart rate, high blood pressure, abdominal pains, vomiting, diarrhea, tremors, and seizures. Allspice and cloves contains a compound called eugenol, which is toxic to dogs. Symptoms include vomiting, diarrhea, and lethargy. If left untreated, it can lead to liver disease or be fatal. Number 5. Artificial sweetener, xylitol. This artificial sweetener can cause a dog to go into hypoglycemia. The reason is that xylitol absorbs very quickly into the bloodstream, which results in a potent release of insulin from the pancreas. This rapid release of insulin causes a significant drop in blood sugar. Symptoms include a change in normal behaviour, muscle twitching, collapse and seizures, and it can lead to liver failure and blood clotting disorders if left untreated. Number 6. Alcohol. It should go without saying that you should not let your dog drink alcohol, but it's just as important to ensure that the foods you give your dog do not contain alcohol, as it is toxic to dogs. The reason is that dogs cannot metabolize alcohol, so it builds up in their system to toxic levels. It can cause lethargy, respiratory problems, and a dangerously low body temperature. Number 7. Raw yeast dough. In connection to the before-mentioned alcohol, raw yeast dough should never be given to dogs, as it can cause a painful distended stomach and alcohol poisoning. The reason is that yeast dough can rise and ferment in your dog's stomach. The fermentation causes alcohol to be produced. Symptoms include a painful distended stomach, low body temperature, seizures, and breathing difficulties. If left untreated, it can be fatal. Number 8. Corn on the cob. Although the corn itself can be digested by dogs, the cob can cause a blockage in your dog's intestines and can cause an intestinal rupture. The reason is that cobs don't digest in dog stomachs and are forced to make their way through the intestines in large undigested pieces. It can cause vomiting, lack of appetite, lethargy, and sensitivity to touching in the abdomen. If left untreated, it can be fatal. Number 9. Macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts contain a toxin. However, the exact toxin has not yet been identified. They can affect your dog's muscles and nervous system and can cause pancreatitis. The reason is that macadamia nuts have a high fat content, and this can overstimulate the pancreas. Pancreatitis is a severe inflammation of the pancreas, and it causes abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, weakness, fever, and reduced appetite. Dogs may also take up a praying position, where they sit with their rear end up in the air with their head and front legs lowered to the floor. Untreated pancreatitis can be fatal. Number 10. Cooked bones. Cooked bones of any kind should be avoided, as they can cause damage to the dog's mouth, throat, or intestines, and are a potential choking hazard. The reason is that cooked bones can splinter into shards. Things to look out for are gagging or coughing, excessive licking of lips, pacing, inability to settle or sit comfortably, excessive thirst, straining to defecate, and vomiting. Number 11. onions, garlic and chives. All members of the onion family, raw or cooked, are particularly toxic to dogs and can cause gastrointestinal irritation and red blood cell damage, which can lead to anemia. The reason is that onions contain a toxin known as N-propyl disulfide, which causes a breakdown of red blood cells. Signs of illness are not always immediate and can occur up to a few days later. Things to look out for are salivation, irritation of the mouth, tiredness, decreased appetite, pale gums, vomiting, diarrhea, and fainting. Number 12. Grapes and raisins. Grapes and raisins are a poisonous threat to dogs and can cause severe liver damage and kidney failure. The particular toxin responsible has not yet been identified. However, some researchers suspect that a mycotoxin, a toxic substance produced by a fungus or mold, may be the cause. Common symptoms include vomiting and/or diarrhea within 6 to 12 hours of ingestion. Other symptoms are fatigue, abdominal pain, increased thirst, and shivering. Number 13. Chocolate. Particularly relevant at this time of year, it's important to keep chocolate out of reach of dogs. It can cause problems with the heart, kidneys, and central nervous system and can cause arrhythmia, seizures, and kidney failure. The reason is that chocolate contains a stimulant called theobromine, which dogs can't metabolize. This means that it builds up in their systems to dangerous toxic levels. Early symptoms include vomiting, restlessness, increased thirst, and urination. As the symptoms progress, hyperexcitability, tremors, and seizures. It's also worth noting that darker chocolates contain higher levels of theobromine. If you believe your dog has consumed any of the items on this list, it is worth seeking professional veterinary advice immediately. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again very soon.
If you enjoyed this video, give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell. You'll be barking mad not to. Ha!